The Eastern State Penitentiary, a revolutionary and haunted prison. The Eastern State Penitentiary, ESP, is a former prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that operated from 1829 to 1971. It was one of the first and most influential penitentiaries in the world, and also one of the most haunted places in America. It is now a museum and a historic site, open to the public for tours and events. The ESP was designed by architect John Haviland, who followed the Pennsylvania system of separate confinement, which was based on the idea of reforming prisoners through isolation, silence, and labor. The prison had a radial plan, with 7 cell blocks radiating from a central hub, like the spokes of a wheel. Each cell block had 2 stories of single cells, each with a skylight, a flush toilet, and a small exercise yard. The cells were intended to provide the prisoners with privacy, ventilation, and natural light, which were considered essential for their physical and mental health. The prison also had a chapel, a library, a hospital, and a greenhouse. The ESP was built on a hill overlooking the city, on a 10-acre plot of land that was originally a cherry orchard. The prison was surrounded by a 30-foot-high wall, with watchtowers and iron gates. The prison was also equipped with advanced security features, such as locks, alarms, and iron bars. The prison was meant to be a model of order, discipline, and morality, and to inspire awe and respect from the public. The ESP was the first prison to implement the Pennsylvania system of separate confinement, which was also known as the separate system or the solitary system. The system was based on the Quaker belief that solitary confinement would lead to penitence and repentance, and thus to rehabilitation. The prisoners were kept in their cells for 23 hours a day, and were allowed out only for 1 hour of solitary exercise. They were not allowed to talk, read, or write, and were given only a Bible and religious tracts to read. They were also required to wear hoods over their heads whenever they left their cells, to prevent them from seeing or communicating with other prisoners or guards. The system was meant to induce reflection, remorse, and reform, and to protect the prisoners from the corrupting influences of society. The ESP was also the first prison to use the congregate system of labor, which was also known as the silent system or the Auburn system. The system was based on the idea of using prison labor as a source of income and a means of discipline. The prisoners were allowed to work together in workshops, factories, or farms, but they were not allowed to talk, sing, or make any noise. They were supervised by armed guards, and were subjected to strict rules and punishments. The system was meant to teach the prisoners useful skills, to keep them busy and productive, and to deter them from committing crimes again. The ESP was a revolutionary and influential prison that inspired more than 300 prisons around the world, including in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The prison also housed some of the most notorious criminals in American history, such as Al Capone, Willie Sutton, and Pep the cat murdering dog. The prison also witnessed some of the most dramatic events in American history, such as the Civil War, the Great Depression, and the World Wars. However, the ESP was also a controversial and troubled prison that faced many challenges and criticisms. The prison was often overcrowded, understaffed, and underfunded, which led to poor living conditions, health problems, and violence. The prison was also criticized for its harsh and inhumane treatment of the prisoners, which violated their human rights and dignity. The prison was also accused of being ineffective and counterproductive, as it failed to reform the prisoners and instead drove them to madness, despair, and suicide. The prison was also haunted by the ghosts of the prisoners and guards who died or suffered there, and by the stories and legends of their paranormal activity. The ESP was closed in 1971, after more than 140 years of operation. The prison was abandoned and left to decay, but it was also preserved and protected by the state and the city. The prison was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1965, and a museum and a historic site in 1994. The prison is now open to the public for tours and events, such as Halloween, art exhibitions, and educational programs. The prison is also a popular destination for paranormal investigators and thrill seekers, who want to experience its dark and eerie atmosphere. The ESP is a remarkable and unique prison, that reflects the history and culture of America. It is a place that showcases the ideals and the realities of the American penal system, and the hopes and the fears of the American society. It is a place that challenges the visitors to think and to feel, and to question and to learn. It is a place that will never forget, and will never let go.